Can you walk us through just the content of your bill and the kind of changes that you'd like to see?
Well, we're working through the logistics right now and plan to introduce this week. But the intention here is to ensure that President Trump, President Biden, and RFK Jr., whose family has twice been victim of political assassination, have enhanced security. Obviously, as more information is uncovered about the events on Saturday, it raises serious questions about, what level of security the former president had. The fact that a armed shooter was able to get on a roof with a clear line of sight at the former president and get a shot off that went through Donald Trump's ear, but not for the grace of God, we'd be having a very different conversation right now. So, the fact that this was able to happen, there's been lots of questions about, the lack of resources, the lack of air support, if you will, as well as the use of drone technology. Lots of questions being raised that require immediate and serious answers. And this cannot be a, cover your own ass situation. This has to be a full and transparent investigation into what happened, why it happened, and how to ensure that this never happens again. Our elections must be determined by votes at a ballot box, not by violence at a rally. And obviously, the Secret Service has a responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being. And this cannot be a question of expense or resources. The federal government has a responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of these candidates and to ensure that every resource necessary is available to them.
Congressman, I think many of your colleagues on the other side of the aisle also agree with you. But just from a logistical point of view, how quickly can this bill get passed and then we actually see those resources hit the ground?
Look, obviously, this is a question for leadership on getting this bill to the floor as quickly as possible. I'm heartened to see that the Biden administration did move yesterday to give RFK Secret Service protection after many months of him requesting it. And obviously, the head of the Secret Service saying that there's going to be immediate changes with respect to President Trump's detail. But we need to make sure as a Congress that we are ensuring that the resources are there, both financially, and that there is more stringent requirement on providing this security. I mean, it shouldn't have taken a shooting on Saturday for them to realize that President Trump needed enhanced security and that RFK Jr. should have security. That should have been a no-brainer in this heightened political environment in which, look, we're a deeply divided country. And obviously, we've seen incidents in recent years, attacks on members of Congress, threats against sitting governors, violence against, the former speaker's husband. So this is critical in this moment that we recognize the seriousness of this, the threat, and that Congress acts both in terms of ensuring the support financially and otherwise for the Secret Service, as well as these congressional investigations that are going to get underway next week when we get back to Washington.
Congressman, given we are a deeply divided country at the moment, following that assassination attempt, the now VP pick of President Trump said that this had ties back to Biden. Do you think that kind of rhetoric is appropriate coming from the VP candidate?
Well, first of all, the investigation obviously is underway. We don't yet know the motivation of the shooter, and that will come out in due time, and we should allow that process to play itself out. I think what the vice presidential nominee was alluding to in his comments is the continued assertion that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy or a fascist, or that if he somehow wins in November, that therefore American democracy is going to end, is destructive. It's destructive to our country. It undermines our democracy. It undermines our electoral process and should stop. And I think all of us can recognize the need to bring down the temperature several notches, to look at the rhetoric that is being used. Both Republicans and Democrats have a responsibility here. In this moment of heightened political disagreement, that we really recognize the importance of the moment. As I said before, our election should always be determined by votes at a ballot box, not by violence at a rally. And all of us have a responsibility to understand that words matter. Our rhetoric can, at times, cause harm, and we need to be clear that we're not going to tolerate it. And I think what the vice presidential nominee was alluding to in that is that the continued effort to somehow say that Donald Trump getting elected is going to destroy our democracy needs to stop.
And Representative, I mean, to be clear, this was, of course, a shocking event over the weekend and deeply disturbing to anyone. But it is not the only case of political violence. You only need to look back over the past few years, whether it be the insurrection on January 6th, whether it be Nancy Pelosi's husband being attacked. I want to understand from you the temperature read that you're getting at this moment in this country, what you're hearing from constituents. Are we starting to dial down the temperature? Does this weekend represent a peak to you, or how concerned are you still of this deeply divided rhetoric that we continue to hear?
Well, if this doesn't shock our nation's conscience to its core, I don't know what would. Look, I've been very clear over the years. I was the first Republican member of the state legislature in New York to denounce the events of January 6th on January 6th. I spoke out when Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked. In the same way, I'm speaking out about the assassination attempt against President Trump. All of us should be universally clear in this. Political violence has no place in our democracy. There should be no tolerance for it wherever it occurs, whether it's those that, seized control of a federal courthouse in Portland, burned down a police station in Minneapolis, or stormed a Capitol on January 6th. It should never be tolerated or condoned, period.